Unit 11. The Norman Conquest.
Now, I'm sure everyone knows the Norman conquest of England took place in 1066. But what makes it so important? Allow me to tell you. First of all, I need to give you some background information. On January 5th, 1066, King Edward the Confessor of England died. Unfortunately, he had no heir. This naturally led to several people vying for the English throne. In fact, there were 3 people who claimed it. They were Harold Godwinson, Duke William of Normandy, and King Harald Hardrada of Norway. What were their claims? Well, Harold Godwinson was Edward's brother-in-law. William was Edward's distant cousin. And Harald Hardrada had a tenuous claim not even based on a familial relationship. Now, don't forget that, unlike modern times, where courts might determine who becomes the next ruler, nothing like this existed in 11th century England. So this meant, well, war. Harold Godwinson was chosen king at first, but his reign wasn't peaceful, nor was it long-lived. Harald Hardrada was the first to invade England. He and his Viking army landed in northern England. On September 25th, his army battled Harold Godwinson's. Harald Hardrada was killed there, and his Vikings were utterly defeated. That left only William to contest Harold Godwinson's claim to the throne. William invaded England from the south, so Harold Godwinson hurried to meet him. On October 14th, there was a tremendous battle at Hastings, where Harold was killed by an arrow. So, naturally, William became the king. He was coronated on December 25th, 1066. However, not all the English accepted William the Conqueror's, as he was now known, rule. It took him until around 1072 to gain total control of England. I now want to turn to some effects of the Norman conquest. There were many. One of the most important was that it created a link between England and the European mainland. That connection, still exists today. In addition, it led to frequent wars between England and France for, well, centuries. See, William and his successors were both the Duke of Normandy and the King of England. As dukes, they owed allegiance to the French king. You see the problem, don't you? They were ruling one country while being subordinate to the ruler of another. However, the most important aspect of the Norman conquest was this. It introduced feudalism to England. See, William hated England. He preferred Normandy, so he often remained in Normandy and let others rule England in his stead. To do so, he introduced feudalism, a system where barons controlled certain areas of land. As William's vassals, they owed him allegiance. This greatly impacted English history. Let me continue my lecture by telling you how.
Listening comprehension. Number 1. What is the professor mainly discussing? Number 2. What was Harold Godwinson's claim to the English throne? Number 3. According to the professor, what are 3 after effects of the Norman conquest on England? Number 4. How does the professor organize the information that he presents to the class? Number 5. The following statements describe the men vying for the English throne after the death of King Edward. Put a check in the correct box for each sentence.